there's nothing new under the sun, professor. Like, there's nothing new under the sun. And she stopped and she looked at me and she said, who said that there's only one sun? Why can't you imagine that there's multiple suns? And I said, what? Okay. Let us start by talking about why imagination is a thing for me and why I think imagination is my topmost value. I used to have a professor in college. Her work mostly dealt with Afrofuturism and Afrofuturistic literature. And if you know anything about Afrofuturism, it is a kind of way of thinking very much involved in imagination, believing a world that exists in the ways that you are imagining that world to exist. I used to be her assistant. We would take walks every Friday or every 2 weeks on a Friday and just talk about things I've read that are inspiring to me, things she's read, what's going on, who's saying what, and how does that involve our work. So this one time we were taking a walk together and it wasn't a heated conversation, but I just remember responding to her with, there's nothing new under the sun, professor. Like, there's nothing new under the sun. And she stopped and she looked at me and she said, who said that there's only one sun? And I said, what? Whoa. What do you mean? So why can't you imagine that there's multiple suns? It was so crazy to me because I'd never heard that before. What if there's multiple suns? You know? Or the closest way I can imagine explaining what I felt is on your way home today or wherever you are, if there's multiple people, I would recommend doing this when you're walking home or like if you are in traffic. Imagine all those people around you. Every single person has their own life that they're about to return to at the end of the day. Isn't that so crazy that we all are living in our own different worlds? Even within Earth itself, there's so many different worlds going on because each person has their own little different individual world. Even people who are born and raised in the same household, I don't think all of us come out in the same exact way because the experiences we have, the people we meet, they're all so different. It's such a different world. Like, there's so many different possibilities. I've had the privilege in my life to travel to different places and different spots and meet different people, experience different languages that I know now that what I was raised on is not the only thing in this world. I grew up and studied in Kenya for majority of my life. Then I got a scholarship to go to Switzerland for like IB, and that was a whole different system in itself. Then I went to America for college. Being in a space that you weren't born in, that you didn't grow up in, and experiencing a whole different culture and experiencing a whole different people and a way of doing things makes you realize, oh my gosh, so what else is out there? What else is out there? Because clearly what I grew up with is not the only thing that's out there. Clearly, I'm in this land or in this space where people live a different life than I do. So then what else is out there? In each continent, in each country, in each city, in each town, people have different sets and values that they lead their lives. I'm Kenyan. I'm from the Kikuyu tribe. In an entirely different part of this world, there's people who have different values to how my culture is. And that is so intriguing to me because they're thriving in their culture and I'm thriving in mine. Multiple things could be true, multiple existing cultures. And I think that's so beautiful that multiple existing cultures can be true and everyone is thriving in their own way. What that has done for me is told me that I can do anything and I can be anything because there is no one right way of being if there's so many different ways of being. So I just feel like I've been exposed early on to a lot of different ways of thinking, educating, seeing the world that has helped me value imagination. There's so many ways of living, and I feel like imagination has played such a big role in me knowing that there are things out there. But that's just one way I feel like what you are exposed to affects what you believe in your brain and in your mind is possible. In a way, whatever you imagine to be possible, you can do. The things we do in our lives, it's because we know that they're possible. I also think that there's something to be said about the different stages of life, even though that experience with my professor happened a while ago where it sparked something in me. It was only about a year and a half ago where I was going through my quarter life crisis. Nothing mattered anymore, and everything that I thought I wanted was just taken away. I was at the pinnacle of it. I lost my job. I had to leave a space where I never thought I would have to. Everything was just shaken to the core that I was like, okay, back it up. All these things that I've believed in, it's just crumpled. That means I have to start over, obviously. But like, wait a minute. Do I want to build what I had built before? Or do I want to try and see what else I could do for my life? Then I started really having agency for myself. And I was like, okay, let me look at what I've learned so far and what I would love to unlearn. I think it's been so intriguing for me. I keep saying the word intriguing. Oh my gosh. Because that's how I feel. We're all just living so many different lives. And what's possible for me, once you know that there's so many differences out here, you realize that there's so many possibilities as well. I'm already intrigued by imagination, but I'm even more intrigued by collective imagination and collective faith and belief systems and governments and countries and loyalty to this collective systems we have all gathered together to kind of agree and then use them. Things like money, for example, like we've all collectively agreed to get this phone, I have to pay for it using this currency. Things like language, we've collectively agreed that for me to express my love to you, I have to say it this way or say it that way. Like, it's so intriguing that we are all imagining things for ourselves daily, but also collectively. And that's why I feel like imagination is such an important topic to talk about. So what I really wanted to start talking about was ways to expand your imagination and ways that I've been using personally to expand my imagination. The first one is through learning history. Back in the day, I would be like, why are we learning what people did? For what? Like, we're here now. Let's focus on what we want to do now. But as I continued growing up, I realized it's important to learn what people did and how they led us to where we are now. A lot of the things that we're able to do now is because our generations did them or fought for us. You can build on that strength that if this group of people did this, I can do this too. But I also think that there's something to be said about looking at how people lived before and the good things that, or the big powerful things that they did. Think about the wonders of the world and why they are wonders, because we can't possibly imagine, like, people built pyramids. How? I think it's a wonder, but also, doesn't that empower us? Like, dang. We all know how, by the way. Side eye. Another thing is fantasy books. Think of Game of Thrones, for example, and House of Dragon, and how we are all invested. We are all invested in their journeys to know about Jon Snow and root for him like he exists when he's just a character. And recently, the actor actually is featured in Industry, which is another show I like to watch. But it's also so intriguing because I knew him as Jon Snow, but now he's this weird, rich software CEO or something. But isn't that crazy that we can all root for just a character, not even a person, a character in a world that was created by another person? Like, how strong is imagination and power in our brains? Because it hits on one, just imagination, individual imagination, or the power for a brain to create this world with these characters, but also this world where other people come and believe in this world. It's so intriguing, and I feel like a lot of the things we believe go under the rug because we don't see the power of how we can believe other people's imaginations, but also, and here's the good part, the power of how we can imagine things for ourselves and how that can help us. Another way that I feel like you can expose yourself to different possibilities and imagine more is daydreaming. Like, think about when you were younger and you're in a class and you're looking outside the window and the teacher's voice starts going from 2 + 2 is 4 to blah, 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 apples, apples, apples. And you're looking outside to this blue sky and you're just wondering, do aliens exist? What would they look like? Or why is the sky blue? Is it reflecting from the sea? Where does the sun come from? Like, you ask yourself all these beautiful questions because you just are curious. I've been trying recently to bring that to my mind or to my life as an adult, because adulting is adulting. Like, when you have to pay bills, even exposing yourself to imagination, it's such a privilege because your basic needs are important to be met first. Like, you can't be telling someone who's hungry, imagine you had food. That is cruel. Please don't do that. Don't do that. No, it's not every day you can wake up and, like, imagine. Like, sometimes you are going through your periods and it's tough okay? But I also think that there is this childlike, exploring voice that we have that grows older and older as we grow old. And sometimes I wonder, okay, what if we allow ourselves to indulge in that a little bit? Or other ways I've been dreaming or imagining has been making collages, and specifically just like putting pictures together, especially pictures that you've never seen together, and then seeing that. There's something about seeing that I feel like lets you know, okay, this is another interesting world on its own. Even if I don't get to live it, like I'm seeing it. And I think just exposing ourselves daily and daily into such ways matters. And then another one would be documentaries and biographies. But I think it's so intriguing. Like, when was the last time you read a biography? To know that people who do big things are indeed people, that they shower and they fart, because duh, it makes them human. Maybe that's why we make documentaries out of their life's experiences. We're just in awe at what they can do, and we document that because other people need to see what people have done. Another one I think would be success stories. I think it's so cool to just go ahead and read success stories. There should be a library of success stories where someone just goes and says, hi, I wanted this and I did this and I got it. Or a book that just lists different success stories. I feel like a lot of churches do this really well. I grew up in a Christian background, so I know this. So if you didn't, this usually happens in some churches. I think Pentecostal churches, where someone will go up there and say, I had this problem and now it's solved. And you can see that success story. That's a way of imagining something for yourself too, because if this has happened, it's possible. Reality TV shows do this really well, especially like love reality TV shows, because you see people falling in love and then you're like, success story. I think exposing yourself to success stories is such an amazing way to expand your imagination. I'm coming to the close of our topic today, but thank you for indulging me. Go forth, dream, and imagine. And let me know what your imaginative stories are down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!